a life without fear is a life that's way too comfortable. I think it's good to have a healthy level of fear because it means you're doing big, scary things with your life.
Welcome to the Empower Podcast, where wellness meets real life and empowerment becomes your way of being. I'm your host, Sam. Today, we're joined by Addison LaBonte, a powerhouse in the gluten-free world and the creative force behind Organically Addison and Sweet Addison. For most of her life, Addison fueled up on foods filled with gluten until chronic leg pain from Compartment syndrome threatened to sideline her active lifestyle. Faced with the choice of invasive surgery or quitting running, she turned to an anti-inflammatory, gluten-free diet, and the change transformed her health, mindset, and eventually career path. That transformation inspired her to launch Sweet Addison's in 2024, a gourmet, gluten-free, dairy-free dessert brand shipping nationwide. And you guys, when I tell you these desserts are delicious, they are delicious. From her days as a Division I college athlete to baking thousands of gluten-free desserts each week, Addison's journey is one of resilience, creativity, and turning personal challenges into a thriving business. Today, we'll dive into her entrepreneurial path and how she's redefining what healthy sweets can taste like. Addison, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to dive into all the conversation. So I originally found you and your cookies, which are like the highlight of this conversation today. They're so good, through another influencer, Sydney Adams.
Oh, I love Sydney.
I don't know her personally, but she's so cute. But she was like posting all about them. And I was like, okay, love clean ingredients, love a good cookie. I'm going to have to check these out. They are delicious.
Thank you so much. Yes. So I met Sydney through Instagram a few months ago. She just kept ordering the cookies and posting about them. And so finally I was like, who is this Sydney Adams girl? This is amazing.
Yeah.
And I sent her a message and just said, you have this huge following, yet you order these on your own and you're posting about them.
That's so
like,
sweet.
I'd love to work with you.
Aww.
And so we did a collab. We did her peanut butter brownies and those just went mega viral, and that's wild.
That's amazing. I love when influencers like post things like organically in that sense too, especially if it's like smaller businesses that could, really profit and make a name for themselves just by being talked about more, which is amazing. So just to kind of see your growth, and I feel like I'm seeing the cookies everywhere, which is awesome.
Yay.
But they're absolutely delicious. So I kind of would like to start from the beginning. Like, your story is so cool, which we have so much to talk about because you're also training for an Ironman and high rocks and all the things. So we'll talk about that. But I want to talk about life before Organically Addison, Sweet Addison, kind of what that looked like around college, because you had like a big health situation come up. So can you talk more about that, how that led you to where you're at now?
Sure. So growing up, I ate fast food, junk food all the time. I was the pickiest eater, my poor parents.
Yeah.
And
same.
It was like fruit roll-ups and hamburgers and McDonald's, and did not really care about the food that I was eating. But I was always super into sports. So I've always been very, very active. Soccer was my favorite. I went on to play Division I soccer at the University of Maine.
Amazing. But
But all that time, I was eating fast food every week, almost every day, and thought I was fine because I was so active and I could still perform on the soccer fields. And then right when I graduated, I had this identity crisis of, who am I? I'm not the soccer player anymore. And what do I eat? How do I train? And so I decided, let's get into distance running. And my aunt is a really great marathon runner. And I said, hey, will you train for a half marathon with me? I think I want to get into this.
Yeah.
And she was all excited.
I love that.
So,
and in soccer too, like, you're running a lot as well. So you're already kind of conditioned in that sense.
right. And I should mention, I never really had any injuries or sicknesses or anything. Thank goodness.
Okay.
I was very healthy throughout. So when I started these longer runs, I would notice at about the 3-mile mark, my feet and my calves would start to get like a tingly sensation, almost like your foot is falling asleep. And then if I kept my run, I would lose all feeling in my legs. And it was very strange, but I also felt like I was probably doing damage because, why would this be happening?
Right.
So I went to see a sports specialist doctor, a physical therapist, and my primary care physician. And they all said you have something called Compartment syndrome, which I'd actually heard of because my college soccer coach had it when he was in college. and he got surgery to fix it. So basically in my legs, and someone with compartment syndrome, is all the pressure in your muscles builds up like any normal person. In a normal person, the muscle fibers will expand to allow for all that muscle buildup, the pressure, the blood flow, and your muscles will literally get swollen. And then when you're done working out, they'll shrink back into position. So for whatever reason in my legs, those muscle fibers never expand when I'm distance running. So the pressure's there, the muscles are trying to expand, and there's nowhere for them to go. So the blood flow gets cut off and you lose feeling.
Wild. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's very, very rare.
Wow.
And for me, it's exertional. I had to have been distance running. It wouldn't happen day to day. But my doctor sat me down and said, you have two choices. You can quit running forever, or you can get surgery. And the surgery has a 6-month recovery time on each leg. So you'd be out of exercise for a year. And I said, I just graduated from being a Division I athlete. This is crazy. I choose neither. I'm just going to run through the pain. I don't really care.
Wow.
And he said, all right, well, you're doing permanent nerve damage in your legs. And if you want to have kids someday and run around and chase them, you really need to reconsider this. So I thought there has to be another way. So I was telling my aunt, because she and I were training together, about this, and we had an upcoming 10-mile run. And I said, I can't run for like 2 hours and not feel my legs. Like I have to change something. And she said, well, I've been gluten-free for years now because of my digestion and these marathons. Maybe you should give it a try. And I said, gluten-free? I eat fried food and bread and pizza and
right. How do I do that?
How do I do that? Where do I start? And she kind of walked me through everything. So on the next Monday, I literally quit gluten cold turkey.
Wow.
And not only that, but then I had to read every nutrition label. And I was like shocked at what I had been putting into my body. And so I went to the grocery store that day. I read every ingredient label and picked out all the gluten-free things. And within 3 to 4 days, I could run normally again.
That's insane. That's
insane. It was that quick.
I'm not a medical professional, but I do know that a lot of people can't handle gluten. Like gluten is not a friend to the gut at all. It's just some people can tolerate it much better than others and not really kind of show any symptoms. Me personally, I can't tolerate gluten. I try to cut it out. If I do have a night where I eat pizza or pasta or something, like I feel that inflammation that day, but also the next day. I mean, it's inflammatory. And so that makes sense why cutting that out for you specifically with the running, that nerve pain and damage that was being caused, like it helped, which is awesome.
And since then, I've noticed so many other symptoms go away. I used to get 1 to 2 really bad headaches every single week for the first 22 years of my life. And I could always justify that with, oh, maybe I'm dehydrated. Maybe I didn't eat enough protein today. Maybe I'm just really stressed out or really run down. And especially being a Division I athlete, it's like, no wonder I have a headache. I'm pushing myself to the limit like crazy every day. So I could always kind of justify why I was getting these headaches. And I would go through bottles and bottles of ibuprofen, and it was crazy. And now I get maybe 1 to 2 headaches a year. I don't even own ibuprofen.
You're like, I don't need it.
I don't own any medication anymore, which is such a blessing. But I went from taking ibuprofen multiple times a week and these awful headaches, and now I don't experience that anymore.
So you cut out gluten. Throughout that process, you're obviously looking at nutritional labels, seeing other ingredients, I would assume. And like, did that spark your interest into learning more about these ingredients, how cutting out specific things could make an impact on your overall health?
Yes. So for a while, I was also dairy-free because I know that dairy is an inflammatory in a lot of people. I can now tolerate really high-quality dairy, which is the
same way.
Raw milk,
yes,
even though it's controversial.
Yep.
Greek yogurt, unsweetened Greek yogurt, and full-fat cottage cheese. And that's really what I do for dairy. But it just, I think going gluten-free for me was the wake-up call that I needed to say, this is how awful you used to feel every single day. And this is how good you can feel. So why don't we start to do things for our body that can really make me feel great?
That's amazing. I love hearing that. Okay, so you went gluten-free. Tell us what came next. That sparked a new interest into a new passion.
Yes. So I've always been a baker. I've loved to bake. I grew up baking with my mom and my grandmother, and I've always loved to be in the kitchen. Chocolate is my favorite food and always will be.
I love that. I could probably agree. It's definitely a top 3.
Yes. I gave up chocolate for Lent one year, and it was like,
that's torture.
Horrible.
Yeah, you're like, never again.
On Easter, I had this huge brownie sundae. It felt so sick, but always loved to bake. And so when I became gluten-free, I just thought, well, I just have to bake gluten-free now.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of trial and error because gluten-free flour is much different.
I feel like I've never perfected it. Like I can make a lot of gluten-free desserts and they taste good, but like it's hard to find good gluten-free baked goods that taste good.
Right. So for a while in the beginning, I was using gluten-free baking mixes, and that was pretty good while I also experimented at home. So all this while I'm thinking, there's got to be other people out there who are having this similar struggle. Why don't I start posting on an Instagram account all these gluten-free recipes and how to go out to dinner if you're gluten-free and how to fuel yourself for marathon training if you're gluten-free.
Because you're obviously running still at this point. Yeah.
Yes. So I should say about 3 months after my doctor told me you might not ever be able to run again, I finished my first half marathon and got addicted. I was like, oh, this is so fun.
No numbness, no tingling. Wow.
Nothing. Ran it completely fine.
It's amazing.
And so I thought, well, I'm in really great shape now, and I've always wanted to run a marathon. Why don't I sign up for a marathon in about 6 months' time so I can just continue my training? So that's exactly what I did. So 6 months later, I ran my first 26.2. Again, no numbness. I felt every single step of that marathon.
Really felt it. I've been there.
Yes. It really just ignited that passion for me of pushing myself, endurance sports. I've always been very disciplined because I was a college athlete. You really have to be. Yeah. And distance running was just a new challenge for me.
It's incredible. Okay, so you started posting online. What year was this?
This was 2018.
Okay, and that's when I feel like blogs were really big, like around that 2016, 2018. So you started your blog, Organically Addison. Okay. And you're posting baked goods. Like when did the traction pick up and you be like, okay, maybe I should do something more with outside of the blogging and everything?
So the blogging and the Instagram really picked up in 2020 when everybody was at home baking.
Right. They have to because a lot of things, places shut down.
Right. And a lot of people were also looking for a somewhat healthier option during that time. I love to bake banana bread, and banana bread went super viral.
I love banana bread.
Me too. It went viral everywhere. So I had all these banana bread recipes. And it was also during that time that I had been working in finance in the office and suddenly was working from home. And I thought, I'm going to get my 9 to 5 work done by noon every day. And then the rest of the day, I'll be testing recipes, posting on Instagram, and really trying to make my side hustle my main income from there. So that's when I learned how to use a DSLR camera and started doing a little bit of video when stories came out, and really just shifted my focus from this isn't just nights and weekends. This is going to be my full-time job.
Today's episode is brought to you by Dream Recovery, the ultimate brand for optimizing your rest and recovery. As someone who is about creating a healthy balance in all areas of their health, I know how much good sleep transforms your performance in your everyday life, and Dream Recovery takes it to the next level. Dream Recovery's innovative products are designed to help you wake up feeling like your best self, whether it's their Dream Strips, which I personally use every night, that help you breathe better and sleep deeper, or their Dream Tape Plus, infused with anti-aging skincare to promote nasal breathing and glowing skin. This brand is all about helping you feel refreshed, restored, and ready to conquer the day. I personally thought mouth tape was just a trend, but decided to try it out anyways, and I kid you not, you guys, after a few nights of using it, I noticed my sleep improved and my energy increased. I really could see the difference on my Garmin watch and saw my REM and deep sleep cycles lengthen, which was wild to me. Bonus, if your partner snores, slap some mouth tape on them because Ian even stopped snoring. I love that Dream Recovery's mission is rooted in the idea of awakening our full potential, because when we sleep better, we do better. So whether you're an athlete, a busy parent, or just someone trying to prioritize wellness, Dream Recovery has the tools you need to level up your recovery game. Visit dreamrecovery.io and use the code SAM15 at checkout. All right, friends, let's talk hydration. Whether you're chasing toddlers, getting in a workout, soaking up some summer sun, or just trying to feel human during a typical week, hydration plays a way bigger role than most of us think. And I'm not talking about drinking more water. I'm talking about getting the right electrolytes in. Because if you're feeling foggy, tired, craving something sweet, especially that mid-afternoon time, a lot of the time you're not underfueled, you're actually underhydrated. And that's why I have been loving Element, spelled LMNT. It's a zero sugar electrolyte drink mix that you've probably heard about if you listen to Huberman Lab or other health and wellness podcasts. And it delivers exactly what your body needs: sodium, magnesium, potassium, without any of the artificial junk or sugar that most sports drinks sneak in. And I personally like to add Element to a big water bottle first thing in the morning, especially when I have a busy day of content, meetings, calls, and client check-ins. And speaking of which, for my clients, prioritizing electrolytes, you guys, has been a huge game changer, especially for solving those afternoon cravings. A lot of them find out that when they start hydrating with Element, their energy and focus stay up, and the 3 p.m. pantry search fades away. And you guys, the flavors, honestly, I love every single one I've tried. I'm obsessed with watermelon salt, and I don't drink alcohol, but Ian and I will throw one into a sparkling water when we want something fun. And Element was co-founded by Rob Wolf, a former biochemist who's worked with Navy SEALs on hydration strategies. So yes, they take this seriously. And right now, they're hooking up Empower listeners with a free 8-count sample pack of their most popular flavors with any purchase. Just head to drinkelement.com/SamCFit to grab yours. That's drinkelement.com/SamCFit. Try it out and stay salty, friends. Transitioning from one career to another, did you have another job at the time? What were you doing?
I was working in finance.
Okay.
Hedge fund analysis.
Love it. Love it.
A lot of spreadsheets, a lot of numbers, which I loved because I was a math major. But as I was building up my blog and my Instagram following, I was still going into the office every day. And I just felt so stuck there. I'm glued to this desk until 5 p.m. because my boss says I have to be.
Yes.
Yet there's this salary cap. And when you're an entrepreneur, there's no salary cap. And there's no one that's telling you have to sit at this desk until 5 p.m. Even if your work's finished, even if you're performing really well, it's just different. There was that freedom there. So I thought I need to experience more of that freedom, and I want to get out of corporate America as quickly as I can. And that's why I was willing to work so hard.
I was in the same boat. I felt like when I was in pharmaceutical career, that career of mine for 10 years, I was like, I feel like there's something more that I wanted to do. I didn't know what that was. And then obviously with nutrition, I went to school, fitness, coaching, all of that just started to pick up. And I was like, okay, this is it. But there's that period of time that you're like, okay, I'm still working this full-time job, but I'm trying to put as much energy and dedication into this new career that I want to make, an actual full-time career. It's how do you balance both? There's that really hard period of time where you just are okay, I've just got to hustle, dig down. It's I'm sure you experience too, long hours, long days, but you make it work. And then you kind of know when it's that time to shift over to that next chapter.
Right, exactly. So I was still working from home when I decided to move from Maine to Dallas. And it was during COVID. I was ready for something new. I wanted a big southern city. It was Dallas or Nashville.
Yes, I know. I'm a Nashville girly, so I'm oh, Dallas is great too, though.
Yes, it is. I think you would thrive in Dallas.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
And so I moved to Dallas, was still working remotely, but really spent every waking hour on my blog and my Instagram. And then that first holiday season that I was living in Dallas, I did something called the 25 Days of Christmas Cookies. And on my Instagram account, each day in December leading up to Christmas, I posted a different cookie recipe.
Oh my goodness.
So each day people are like, what's she going to post tomorrow?
Right. And it creates that engagement.
Exactly. So my following really grew during that time, but I started getting messages from random followers saying, I'll pay you if you ship these to me. Or where can we buy these? Are these sold in stores? And I thought, well, that's silly. Why would I ship someone cookies in the mail? How
do you even do that?
How do you do that?
Maintain freshness and all the things.
This was kind of at the same time where TikTok was growing and Instagram was just going crazy. So many creators. And I thought, I have this audience. Why don't I create my own brand?
Mm.
And I didn't exactly know what that looked like, but I spent all of kind of 2023 formulating what I wanted my brand to look like. And I had all these people messaging me saying, I want to buy your baked goods. Where can we buy them? And I thought, well, I could start my own brand of baked goods. So I stewed on that thought. And it was one day in 2023, the spring of 2023, where I was flying home to see my family in Maine. And every time I flew, I would bake a ton of things and literally take them through TSA at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time they would stop me and say, why do you have a whole loaf of banana bread in your backpack? And I thought, well, I can't find clean ingredient baked goods where I'm going.
Yeah.
And there's nothing ever in the airport.
No.
And then it hit me and I was like, well, if this isn't available anywhere, then there's a hole in the market.
Right.
And so why don't I be the one to fill that gap? And why don't I be the one to formulate these recipes that are truly clean ingredient, better for you, and launch my own brand? So that's where the idea came from.
Also, too, as an entrepreneur, you have this idea. Did you have any fears in the beginning?
I did, yes.
What were especially with the food too, because you're thinking, okay, freshness and will it taste good? Will people like it? What were some of the fears or challenges that you faced in the beginning?
I knew that everything is figure outable.
Mm-hmm.
I could figure out the freshness. I could figure out the shipping. I could figure out the website. My biggest fear was, what if this fails?
Mm.
What if I launch this and nobody buys it?
I think that is the question we all feel as entrepreneurs.
And I'm putting my name on this and I'm announcing it to thousands and thousands of people.
That is a big point to make because that's scary. I mean, you're like, this is me.
Yeah, this is me. So it was about August of 2023 that I started really recipe testing, choosing ingredients that I wanted to use. And in my mind, I thought, okay, I'm going to launch this right before Christmas of 2023 and, holiday season. It's going to be
perfect timing.
Perfect timing. And I'll quit my corporate America job because I was still doing that remotely. And then I'll go all in January. And on a random day in September of 2023, my boss called me and said, your entire department is getting let go. And I was like, what? I was absolutely shocked. And then I thought, this is going to be the biggest blessing in disguise.
It's a sign.
Because it's a sign. And now I can go all in on the cookie business.
Wow.
So for a little while there, I was like, this is interesting. I'm able to survive off of my influencing income, but I was not expecting this other income.
And it's scary. That door closing. And I don't know if you felt this way, but it's when I was doing both jobs at the same time, pharma, influencing, content creation, coaching, all that, there was only so much that I could do with both. But it's when that old career and job closed, that door closed, it opened so many doors ahead and so many new opportunities. I'm sure you felt the same way.
Absolutely. It was the next week, I was like, it's a random Wednesday and I can meet someone for coffee.
Right, you had the time.
This is really weird. I had total freedom. And I don't know if you felt this way, but there's nothing, when you're an entrepreneur, there's nothing to fall back on, but there's no ceiling above your head.
No.
So in the beginning, I kind of felt like I was floating. It's like, well, there's nothing steady beneath me, but there's nothing holding me back.
I still feel like that sometimes.
So where do I go from here?
Right.
But again, it was the biggest blessing in disguise. And then I really went all in on Sweet Addison's, and I ended up launching just after the new year in January of 2024.
Okay.
But I remember in December of 2023, I was tying up all the loose ends, getting ready to launch, and I had a panic attack one day, just thinking, what if this fails? What am I doing with my life? I was a math major. I was a D1 athlete. Now I bake cookies for people who I don't even know if they're going to buy them. And I just remember thinking, what am I doing with my life? So naturally I called my mom and I said, Mom, I can't even breathe. I'm freaking out. And she said, you just have to be brave. She said that should be your word for 2024 is brave. What you're doing and what you're about to do requires someone who's really brave. And I'm so proud of you. And you've never failed at anything in your life. Maybe you have to pivot, but you're not going to fail. And so I still come back to that sometimes. My mom's amazing and my dad's amazing too.
That's amazing.
But coming back to that is what I'm doing requires me to be really brave. It doesn't require fearlessness because I think a life without fear is a life that's way too comfortable. I think it's good to have a healthy level of fear because it means you're doing big, scary things with your life.
Exactly. And that's how we grow. I mean, I don't think that in order for us to really make big steps with growth, internal, external, whatever that may be, we have to take risks. And there's going to be a fear associated, big or small, with that. But it's like, that's what makes us grow. We have to put ourselves out of our comfort zone for that to happen.
Yeah. I would have never started this business if I didn't even move from Maine to Dallas.
Right.
And then that was the biggest out of my comfort zone experience of my life. I come from a really small town in Maine where everybody knows everybody. And then I went to the University of Maine where my parents met. So people, still kind of knew me there. And then taking that leap from Maine to Dallas, I was like, well, forget the comfort zone. Like, this is terrifying, but this is thrilling and this is really cool. And so at that point I decided I'm not going to let fear ever hold me back from doing something in life. And so that really played into starting Sweet Addison's. It was never, I'm not going to do it. It was, I'm going to do this even though I'm absolutely terrified.
I mean, I still feel that way. I mean, there's some days where I'm like, okay, what ifs? But it's like, what if not? Like, you ask yourself, what if I fail? But what if you don't? And look at the possibilities that can happen from that. So it's like, I think so much of it's just mindset that can hold us back. So that was just last year for you then.
Yes, like 18 months ago.
That's crazy. Okay, I want to talk about ingredients in your cookies. Like, you guys, if you're listening to this, I'll put the link to where y'all can find her cookies and all things Addison and Sweet Addison, but they're delicious.
Thank you.
Delicious. And they're all clean ingredients, which for me as a nutritionist is huge. I have like select brands that I like that are store-bought packaged. A lot of the times I've just always made my own because it's hard to find desserts and sweets that have clean ingredients that aren't processed. And then I found you and I was like, oh my gosh, my kids love them too. But what went into your thought process when it came to formulating these cookies from an ingredient standpoint?
So I had extremely high standards when it came to our ingredients. I thought the first thing was, what is the sweetener that I want to use? Because I personally haven't eaten refined sugar in about 2 years now. My skin freaks out when I have white sugar or brown sugar or any sort of processed sugars. So I originally thought I really want to use coconut sugar because that's what I bake with at home. That's what I prefer the taste of that. But I also toyed around with the idea of maple syrup or honey. So it's one of those three things. Typically with cookies, you have a granulated sugar, not a liquid sugar. So that's how I decided on the organic coconut sugar. And then the next biggest thing was the flour. And a lot of baking I did at home, I was using almond flour and coconut flour. So originally I had both flours in the cookies, but coconut flour is extremely absorbent. It really dries things out. So it's fine if you make something and eat it that day, but it doesn't last.
Even small amounts, I've noticed, because I feel like some recipes, it's like a half a cup of almond flour and then like a fourth a cup of coconut. So that makes sense why they do small amounts in a lot of these recipes.
Right. So they balance coconut flour and almond flour balance each other out really well. So they work really well in tandem. Almond flour is extremely moist.
Yeah.
Coconut flour is not. So together they balance each other out and mimic a wheat flour. But I thought if I'm shipping these across the country, they can't be dry at all.
Right.
So I kind of nixed the idea of using coconut flour and I went all in on almond flour, which is my personal favorite. I love the slightly nutty flavor and it's naturally higher in protein. So as an athlete, I loved that too.
Training for a marathon like me, getting through an Ironman prep, or just powering through a busy day with kids, meetings, and workouts, hitting your protein goals matters. But here's the thing. Most protein bars out there are packed with sugar and extra calories that don't actually help you hit your goals. And that's why I've been loving David Protein. These bars are such a game changer, you guys. 28 grams of protein, only 150 calories, and 0 sugar. That protein to calorie ratio is insane. About 75% of calories come from protein, which is higher than anything else on the market. And for me, it's the easiest way to stay full, recover well from training, and still stay on track whether I'm at the gym, in the carpool line, or just traveling. And the flavors, you guys know I'm picky, but my favorite is chocolate brownie. It's so good. It actually tastes like a treat, but without any of the junk. So here's what I want you to do. Head to davidprotein.com/SamCFit because right now when you buy 4 cartons, you get the 5th free. free. That's davidprotein.com/CMCfit. You can also grab them on Amazon or find them at local retailers with the store locator on the site. Humans aren't perfect, but David is. So let's talk about one of my favorite little rituals that's been getting me through my marathon training, Ironman prep, and honestly, just mom life in general. Dates with peanut butter or cashew butter and a drizzle of honey before my long runs. It tastes like a little piece of candy, but it also gives me that quick energy I need. And the only honey I reach for now is Monocora. Once I tried their Manuka honey, there was no going back. It's rich, creamy, almost like a dessert, but it's also honey with superpowers. It's packed with antioxidants and bioactives that support gut health, immunity, and steady energy. So it's doing way more than just tasting good. And what I love most is how trustworthy it is. Every single jar is ethically produced, third-party tested, and you can literally scan the QR code on the label to see the exact batch results. My kids love it straight from the spoon, and I sneak it into coffee, smoothies, or my pre-run toast. Just one spoonful a day makes such a difference. Now it's easier than ever to try Monocora honey. Head to manukora.com/CMCfit to save up to 31% plus $25 worth of free gifts with the starter kit. That's monocora.com/CMCfit. And that includes their MGO 850 plus Manuka honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. That's monocora.com/CMCfit to save 31% and get your bonus gifts. Trust me, you guys, one spoonful and you'll get it. So talk to me, because you have olive oil.
Yes.
Okay, that's when I saw that I was like, okay, because I was expecting like coconut oil or something else. What went into your thought process with that?
Originally, I was going to use coconut oil, and then I made so many different batches of the chocolate chip. I went through 26 different recipe variations until I settled on the one that is today. Mm-hmm. And I was giving these out to family and friends, and a lot of them said, oh, the coconut oil, it tastes a little bit too coconutty.
It's very potent. Like, you can taste it.
And so I love it.
Right. But if you don't like coconut, like my mom is not a coconut oil fan, and any recipes I make with coconut oil, she's like, I can see how it would taste good, but I don't like the taste, which I get that. So
right. So, but I was using, when I was recipe testing, I was melting the coconut oil so that it was in liquid form. And then I thought, what's another liquid fat that I could use? I knew I wanted them to be dairy free. My two best.
No butter.
No butter. And no ghee. I love ghee.
I was about to say, did you play around with ghee?
Yes, but even some people who are lactose intolerant don't do
Still
ghee.
Can't tolerate.
Right.
Which that's it's like, even though you might think it tastes good, you also have to think from like a consumer standpoint as an entrepreneur, like what would make sense. So that's really smart.
Right. I thought if I could make them gluten and dairy free, that's a whole nother demographic of people.
Absolutely.
So I thought, what's another liquid fat? And I thought, what about avocado oil or olive oil? Personally, I tried both. I like that olive oil has a little hint of flavor more than avocado oil. Love avocado oil. It's very neutral.
There's no taste.
There's no taste. And I wanted that little bit of olive oil taste. So I was like, olive oil, are people going to think that's weird?
Yeah.
But it's worked out great.
How many different versions did you go through with your chocolate chip cookie?
26. Wow. And I wrote notes for all of them. So I started in August 2023, and I finalized the recipe in December of 2023. And I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to these cookies.
Being a math major, I feel like maybe that's where that comes into play, I would assume, which I'm sure you being a math major has really helped you nail these recipes when it comes to the numbers and quantity of everything, right?
Yes, it has. And it's also helped me scale up the recipes, because I'm not just making 10 cookies at a time now. It's like 1,000 a day. So how do you scale up a recipe? Because you can't just 10 times every ingredient. It doesn't always necessarily work out that well. So being a math major has come in very handy for sure.
Okay, so you launched with the chocolate chip.
Yes.
And then what's your like hero product? Would you say it's the chocolate chip cookie?
Well, we just launched the protein cookie, which has been going.
I was just telling our producer that is my favorite.
Is it?
Because it's a little bit more chewy.
Yes.
And I like that consistency better. Like, I'm all about a good chewy cookie.
Okay.
I'm obsessed. And I'm like, it's protein.
Yes, right, exactly. The protein's my favorite. The chocolate chip was always our hero.
And it's so good. Yeah.
Thank you. Then we launched the brookie last October.
That's a good one too. I'm like, literally all of them are good. And the brownie, oh my goodness. Like, you can't go wrong with any of them. You truly can't. Have you ever tried a recipe that's been like an absolute failure?
I wouldn't say an absolute failure, but one that I'm dying to get right is red velvet. And the reason, so I nailed the flavor and the texture. It's just the color because
it turns brown.
It turns brown. So I tried beetroot powder. You could smell it.
Because a lot of people do beet powder for that.
It turned like a dark maroon color.
Okay.
But it had a hint of beet flavor.
It's too
and
much.
Like the average person is not going to like these.
Yeah.
Then I tried cherry powder, turned brown, raspberry powder turned gray, strawberry powder turned purple. I just could not, because I really wanted to launch those for Valentine's Day. Oh my God. And I just
well, there's always next year.
Yes.
I'm sure by then you'll perfect it. It might have to be just like a blend of different things. That's a hard one. Because red velvet, I've always stayed away from it just because it has the red dyes in it and a lot of like desserts that you see out there.
Right. So still trying to nail that one.
So with the protein, did that come into play just because you're an athlete? Like, did you think, hey, we got to get our protein intake in. Let's just add it to the cookie. Tell me about that.
I've always eaten a very high protein diet. Growing up, I've always loved to eat. We always had meat for dinner.
Right.
But I just personally love to eat protein. And I thought if I'm having dessert at night, why don't I add a little bit of protein to it?
I'm all about that.
And then again, I saw a really big gap in the market. There's probably 2 other protein cookie brands, and I can't even pronounce half the ingredients.
Yeah, it's not clean.
No, they're not clean. So I thought, well, there's a whole new demographic of customers that I'd be opening myself up to if I launched a protein cookie, but I have to really nail it. This can't taste like protein. It can't taste like chalk. It has to have that big, thick, moist texture that Sweet Addison's is known for. So it was kind of in the back of my mind for months and months. And then I started experimenting with Taylor Duke's Wellness bone broth protein powder, which is what we launched with. And we've been collaborating with her, which has been super fun.
That's awesome.
And love her bone broth protein powder. And once I had that figured out and that was a great fit, then it was just about incorporating it into the cookie.
Well, and you also have to think too, okay, we're adding protein powder, but like the protein powder has to be clean as well. And that's something that I've talked a lot about on my social media. And even on the podcast is like your supplements, like specifically protein powder. You got to look at the ingredients in that because a lot of the times they can sneak things in. So,
right.
Yeah, that's great that you nailed that.
Thank you. Yeah.
And it tastes so good. Okay, so for you, how many cookies are you eating a day? That's what I want to know.
There was a lot in the beginning. Now it's 1 to 2 every night. I eat very clean throughout the day. And then I'm like, that's my little treat at night. I literally climb into bed and eat it in bed and then go to sleep. Oh my gosh.
How fun is that though? You're like, this is my product and I love it that much.
Right. Yeah. So it's like the end of a really long, hard day. I'm like, oh, okay, I did it. I made it through the day. I worked really hard today.
And that's something that I share too, being a nutritionist, and I preach and coach a lot around macros, is that you don't have to restrict when you're thinking about your macros as a whole. Like when I started learning about macros and protein and carbs and fat, I went away with the mindset of, well, I can't have these cookies or I can't have this because, you know, it's not healthy for me, quote unquote. But it's like, if you can find good, clean products, like obviously your cookies would fall in that category, you can add them in every single day if it hits your macros, you know what I mean? If it aligns with your overall goals. So for me, I've been really enjoying the protein cookie.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad.
And I think I told you earlier, like my boyfriend loves them too. He can eat like 2 or 3 in one sitting. I'm like, save them for the rest of us. And our kids love them. And as a mom too, I'm sure that you've probably had this comment from moms out there too. It's like, we want to provide the best for our kids as well when it comes to food, not just us. So the fact that they like them is amazing, you know?
Yeah, that makes me so happy. When I get messages from moms who say, I'm so glad that I found something I can give to my kids.
Yeah.
It warms my heart, because when I started Sweet Addison's, I wanted it to be a product for anyone and everyone. As someone with food allergies, I know what it's like to feel left out or forgotten about, or you show up to a birthday or a holiday and you can't eat anything there. And then I think about children who have celiac disease or different food allergies or preferences, and the thought of them going to a birthday party where they can't eat anything, that just makes me so sad. So when I get emails from moms who say, I bought these for my kid's birthday, I'm like, in tears. I'm like, that is so sweet. So it just reminds me every single day why I started this business, and the fact it's not about me. It's about serving my customers and bringing joy to people.
I love that. That's a great mission. And there's such an unmet need in the market, like you said earlier. So the fact that you're being able to like fill that gap is so powerful. And I do think that we've like, from a food standpoint and overall health in our country specifically, I feel like we are on this movement of changing things when it comes to doing away with like dyes and artificial ingredients and a lot of these ingredients that are banned in other countries, right? Because we know they cause internal damage in the body. So I think the more that we talk about it and share with other people, it's just going to be even bigger for us, which is awesome. But back to my kids, like I've noticed anytime they go to a birthday party or a class event where they're having like cupcakes or a cake or whatever, and like the dyes and the sugar in there, like neurologically, we notice a huge difference. So it's
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And it, you want to give them like treats every once in a while. So we like to pull out the cookies and they are like, they have no idea that it's all clean ingredients and
which is my
tastes
goal.
Just as good. That's the goal.
Right.
I love it.
That was the goal. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some training because you're training for an Ironman too, which I had no idea until a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right, which one are you doing?
So my best friend, Anna Foley, she met you at a High Rocks event.
Oh my gosh, wait, that's your best friend?
My best friend. Yes.
Get out.
She lives in Dallas.
Small world. Yeah, I met Anna at High Rocks Atlanta, I believe it was, last year.
And she's like killer at she won
she's
High Rocks Houston, and she qualified for Worlds and
my goodness,
all this stuff. So I told her, I mean, Sweet Addison's took 100 hours every week from me, and I had absolutely no life until a few months ago when I hired out my team. And so I remember telling Anna, like, okay, I have a little bit more free time and I really want to get back into my health and fitness. Would you help me train for High Rocks? And she was all excited. So she wrote me this training program and was like, you need to be hitting at least 100 grams of protein every day. And then one day, this was just a couple weeks ago, I was telling her, I was like, I'm excited to do High Rocks, but I want like a really big challenge.
Like a big guy.
Like a big, something I've never done before that will like really push me to my limits. And I said, what about doing an Ironman 70.3? She's like, wow, yeah, you totally should do that. And then I was just home in Maine a couple weeks ago visiting my family, and she called me one night and she said, I think I want to do one too. And I said, well, let's do it together.
Oh, so you guys are doing it together?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So we're not entirely sure yet, but we think we're going to do Hawaii in May.
How fun.
And you're doing Dubai, right?
Yeah. I don't think they've actually released like the tickets or sales or anything, but it says on the website like early March. But yes.
Exciting.
So when I was thinking about what Ironman would I want to do, I'm like, okay, I don't want to drown. So like the best water environment we can think of, which like Dubai is like clear water, pretty smooth. So we're like, okay, check there. Dubai is also flat. So biking is great. And then the running, like I'm a runner, so hills aren't too bad, which I'm sure people that have done an Ironman are probably like, well, after you do a bike and a swim, yes. I've done an Olympic triathlon, so I know what that feels like. It is crazy how your legs quite literally feel like Jell-O. Once you get off that bike, you're like, how do I run? But yeah, the biking and the swimming, I'm like, I just want the best, most ideal conditions.
Right.
As far as the map and route and everything.
So you're gonna make a trip out of it because it's so far.
Yes. So we're going to make a trip out of it. I've always wanted to go to Dubai. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go do this. My boyfriend's doing it with me and then a couple of our friends. So we're kind of like on this group chat together, following a specific plan. But I'm also training for the New York City Marathon right now.
Wow.
So I'll be conditioned with the running, which is going to be great. But I just started the swimming and biking. So we're like in the very beginning. All right, ladies, let's talk about something that touches literally every corner of our homes, cleaning. As a mom, an athlete, and honestly just someone with a crazy busy schedule, I don't have time to stress about what's in my cleaning products. And for years, I didn't even think about it until I started looking at the labels and realized how many harsh chemicals are hidden in the stuff we use every single day. And that's why Branch Basics has been such a game changer in my house. Their premium starter kit replaced every single one of my old cleaners, all with just one concentrate. I use it for everything. kitchen counters, laundry, bathrooms, even washing produce and the kids' toys. I've even cleaned my running shoes with it after a long, muddy run. And the best part, it's made with plant and mineral-based ingredients, no harsh chemicals, no fake fragrances, just effective cleaning I actually trust around my family. It simplified my cabinets, saved me money with the refill model, and honestly given me so much peace of mind knowing I'm creating a safer home. That's so important to me, you guys. It's one of those swaps you never regret. So if you've been wanting to make the switch, now's the time. Head to branchbasics.com and use code EMPOWER, EMPWR, for 15% off your premium starter kit. That's 15% off with code EMPOWER at branchbasics.com. Make the change today because you and your family deserve better.
Swimming. Talk to me about swimming and training for the swimming. Cause like I can not drown. I can keep myself
That's good.
above water, but I've never swam for distance or time or with any sort of, really
What's the
great.
farthest you've swam?
Probably a quarter to a half mile in a lake in Maine.
Okay, well that's good. How'd you feel?
Tired. I mean,
It'll tire you.
The thing about swimming is you can't take a break.
You can't. So here's what I would suggest. My boyfriend taught me. He's a Navy SEAL.
Mm-hmm.
So he is obviously an amazing swimmer. I did not know how to swim, no joke, 15 feet
Okay.
until last spring before I trained for a few months for my Olympic triathlon. And he taught me and he told me, he was like, you want to learn freestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the most ideal way to learn. And so he really took me like kindergarten level. I mean, he was showing me going through the entire ropes, the entire course of how to swim freestyle. And we just like practice with all of the tools, like like the board and the thing you put in between your legs to master the stroke. And I mean, it took a long time, but once I perfected the form, then I really worked on distance. And so I went from not being able to swim 15 feet to knocking out like 3,000 meters.
Wow.
Mindlessly. I would just like look at my watch, be like an hour later. I'm like, holy cow, like how did that time fly? So consistency and then just like taking it day by day. And I tried to swim like 3 times a week. And now I'm at a point where we're doing more drills, working on more like sprints and speed and everything. But I had not swam until this past weekend. It had been a year. Like I had swam, I think a little bit after my Olympic triathlon. And then I got in the pool this past weekend and was like, did I forget it all? We'll see. I did not. It all came back to me, which is great. So for the Olympic triathlon, it's 1,500 meters, which is like 0.93 miles. And then for the 70.3, it's 1.2, you said?
1.2.
Yeah. So
it's pretty close.
yeah, it's pretty close. Here's the kicker. Anybody that's listening that wants to do a triathlon, wants to train or an Ironman, practice in open water versus a pool because it is entirely different. When I did my Olympic triathlon, I had just swam in a pool. And then the day of, like, this was my biggest mistake. The day of, I was like, it was my first open water experience was the triathlon. Biggest mistake. I jumped in, immediately freaked out.
Because there's
like
currents and
there's
waves.
current, there's people splashing. It's murky, cold, dark. You can't see.
I can't wait.
And I immediately looked at my boyfriend and he was like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just take a deep breath. We got through it, but I'm going to be definitely doing some open water swims.
That's smart.
Yes.
Thank you.
But you swam in the lake in Maine, so you're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gross and
Are
murky
you
and
most
cold
nervous
and-
about the swim or what? How do you feel about it all?
The thing that I get most nervous about is that I'll let myself down or that I'll be unsatisfied at the end and think, oh, I should have tried harder. I could have given more.
Like for time or
Yeah.
just effort overall? Okay. Yeah.
It's less about like.
So you're competitive. That's
I'm
probably the
very
athlete in you.
Competitive. Yes, I'm very competitive. But the cool thing is I'm mostly competitive with myself. Like when I go out to do this Ironman, if I come in last place, but it's my best time and I push myself, okay, I can be okay with that. I'm no longer competitive with other people. It's just myself. And that's why I think the fear or the nervousness is, am I going to let myself down?
I also feel like people that have that quality are sometimes the most successful because they continue to push themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Which is,
Right.
I think, a great quality to have in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how it could be like a negative thing. I'm very similar in that sense. I was not an athlete growing up. I was a dancer in the arts. And so for me, I'm in this new athletic chapter in my life where I'm just like, okay, I want to try it all.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to survive it and do well.
Right.
But for me, it's like with running, I will say I had a goal like for my half marathon to hit like a sub 2. I did that. NYC would love to do sub 4, but
You can do it.
we'll see.
That
I'm
was
pretty slow right now. I'm like, I don't know if we're going to get there. We'll try it.
You can do it.
Well, thank you.
That was my goal for my second marathon was sub 4. And
Did you hit it?
I did. I got 3:57. I was like, and I crossed the finish line. I said, I'm never doing that ever again.
Yeah.
Now I'm like totally getting the itch to run another marathon.
I feel like everybody says that after like whatever competition or race they do. They're like, oh, never again. I remember being like, I can't believe people do Ironmans and like, what? I did my Olympic triathlon and was like, I'm never doing this again. Ironman, that's insane. And then here we are. But it's fun. It's going to be a journey. I'm sure you're aware, like the training is
intense,
very intense. And I'm more about anything is time, like how time consuming it is.
Right.
Because it's like hours of training.
And then not only is it that, but then the night before you're going to bed early because you have to get your sleep,
recovery.
You have to be meal prepping, which I think for me, one of the reasons I love doing stuff like this is because it forces you to have a disciplined lifestyle. You can't go out on Friday and Saturday night and stay at the bars until whatever time. You have to be in bed early. You have to plan ahead. And that's my personality anyway. I'm such a type A planner. Like I schedule every single hour of my day and write it in my notes app on my phone, exactly what I need to get done. And with training for something like this, like I probably don't know what I'm in for yet, but I love that it demands that I be very disciplined and intentional with my time.
I completely agree. You don't have kids. Are you in a relationship?
No.
Okay. So you are like, I got all the time. Let's do this.
I'm like, this is the perfect time in my life to dedicate towards starting and growing a business and then doing these personal goals that I want to accomplish.
That's amazing. So are you a meal prepper?
I'm like a partial meal prepper.
Okay.
How I know you have your 3-2-1 rule, which I love. And I'm kind of the same way. I'll do a few different types of proteins, a few different types of potatoes and veggies, and then I'll mix and match them throughout the week. So I'm also the type of person who can literally eat the exact same thing every single day.
I'm the same way. And honestly, right now, tracking my macros, I'm working with a coach. And I will always say, like, even though I'm a coach, the best coaches always have coaches. And he's like, you can eat the same thing if you want every day. And I'm like, oh, well, I am. It honestly makes it the easiest. And I tell my clients this too. It's like, if you're okay eating the same thing, that's great. It's going to create consistency. You know what you're getting. You don't have to think about it. You just prep it and go.
It cuts back on decision fatigue, which as an entrepreneur and a mom like you are, it's one less thing that you have to think about.
That's why my kids, they're going to school and they have uniforms. And I'm like, it's like the same thing. We don't have to worry about outfits. Uniforms are easy to put on. The decision making, anything that I can make less decisions on, I'm like, we're good. We're good there. But no, I think with meal prepping too, I think that's a great way to do it. It's like, I'm honestly the same way too. Right now, I'm obviously very disciplined and have that structure, just being so specific with my macros. But I'm like, you know what, guys? Sometimes if you can just prep a few things throughout the week, it takes half the load off.
And then you have no excuse.
If
your chicken and broccoli is already in the fridge,
there you go.
It saves time. It saves money. It saves calories. It's just
completely agree.
Yeah.
Now, when is High Rocks for you?
November. I'm doing Dallas.
Okay. Are you doing it with Anna?
No, I'm doing it with another friend.
Okay. How are you feeling about that?
I'm so excited.
Oh.
I've never done anything like it. So I'm excited for the mental challenge of these different exercises wall balls, I've never, farmers carry.
We never did that. When I started my High Rocks training, I could not do like 5 wall balls in a row. I mean, I was like, this is going to be the hardest part, which it was, but it's crazy how far you can come with the right training.
Which I'm excited. I'm excited to grow in all those areas. And then as soon as that's over, we'll jump right into Ironman training. So it'll be
exciting. Well, we'll have to keep up with each other throughout the whole process. If I'm having any like hard days, I'll like text you or something. Be like, right, or just eat one of your cookies and we feel better.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so what's next for you? Obviously, Ironman and High Rocks, but for Sweet Addisons, like what are you guys working on next? Can you spill any good deets?
Something that I've wanted to create ever since we launched the protein cookie is a protein brownie. So trying to find the right type of protein that I want to use in that. Brownies and cookies are very different. Cookies, it's all about the structure. They can't spread too much. They have to spread a little bit. Brownies are very forgiving. So I'm not entirely sure what type of protein powder I want to use in that, whether it's collagen, whether it's pea protein, I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm kind of leaning towards collagen just because I personally love collagen.
Yeah.
It's completely flavorless. It's easy
Is
to
the consistency different? Like between that and like a whey protein and a brownie mix?
Yes.
Okay.
So whey protein and then the bone broth protein powder that I'm using for the cookies now, those will both maintain their structure even when they're mixed with a wet ingredient. Collagen, as you know, will kind of dissolve.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it'll be a really easy addition to the brownie recipe, but that is something that I'm currently working on. So
that's so
I'm
exciting.
so excited for that. And then just continuing to best serve our customers and grow our customer base. And I'm super excited for the holidays this year. It was wild last year and I was still pretty much doing everything by myself and it just about killed me.
So you have a team of people now?
Yes, I do.
Because you're still obviously like posting, doing your recipes outside of Sweet Addison's. Like, how do you do it all? What's your tip?
Plan ahead.
Yep.
I schedule everything. I am very disciplined. Just really planning ahead makes a world of a difference.
You sound like me talking. I'm like, I create a schedule for my schedule.
Oh, yeah. Like I will literally say from this time to this time, you're taking a shower. Like,
no, I'm
everything.
insane. Like people are like, I'm like, pour coffee in mug. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It doesn't go. But
Go to
yes,
bathroom.
like you do have to equate like getting ready time and all these things. I used to never be great with time. And honestly, my boyfriend has helped me so much with that. I think him just being a SEAL, like that is
very disciplined.
Very disciplined.
Thank him for his service, by the way.
Oh,
That is
will.
like
Thank
incredible.
You. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, he's an amazing person and just like what he's done to serve our country is super inspirational. But he's really helped me with structure and discipline. And it's crazy how much more energy and time that opens up from creating a structured, disciplined lifestyle. So I'm like all about a good schedule and everything you're doing is so amazing. You guys have my full support with these cookies,
Thank
your
you.
brownies. I love the protein, obviously. So I love it all and so happy I found you guys.
Thank you. And likewise, maybe someday we'll have to do a Sam cookie.
I would love to. You just say when. Okay. I already have some ideas in the back of my head. I love anything so sweet, so nothing is off the table there, but I would be honored. Okay, so one question that I ask all of my guests is around empowerment. Obviously, that's the name of the podcast. How do you view empowerment? Like, what does empowerment mean to you?
To me, empowerment means having the complete confidence to live out your life's purpose. So for me, confidence is really important. It's a trait that I look for in other people, especially people that I spend a lot of time around. I think having confidence is a really big attribute and it says a lot about a person. And I think sometimes people can confuse confidence with cockiness. And it's not that I think I'm better than anyone. It's just that I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table and I know what my life's purpose is and how I want to live out my life. And I think that's another reason that I'm so disciplined and focused on the things that I'm working on in my life and starting a business and doing High Rocks and Ironman. And I've always had this really unique perspective on life where I always think about who am I going to be at 100 years old? And when I'm looking back on my life, what stories do I want to tell? And what am I going to be telling all my grandchildren someday on my deathbed? Like, this is who I was and this is what I did. And I just want to look back and say, I had the confidence to pursue my dreams and to never let fear hold me back. And yeah, maybe I tried this and it didn't work out, or maybe I did and it was a smashing success. But this is what life should look like. You should never, ever let your fears or your insecurities hold you back.
I mean, you really do exude so much confidence. And I think that's what's led you to be so successful and where you're at now. And like, you are not married yet. You don't have kids yet if you want kids. And a lot of people find that confidence in their identity throughout that journey and after that journey. I know for me, like I truly found my identity post-kids. So the fact that like you have found all of this already is so amazing. And I think for you, the sky is the limit. So
thank you so much.
yeah.
I mean, you're amazing yourself. So I'm just
thank
honored
you.
to be here.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on. I think our listeners will love this. And I will put in the show notes where you guys can find Sweet Addison cookies. They are the best. The protein chocolate chip is my favorite.
And we can give them a discount.
Oh, awesome.
If they use Sam C Fit at checkout, they can get 10% off.
Oh, that's great. Okay, I'll also put that in the show notes. Well, thank you for sharing all of the good news and for coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. It really helps us grow and bring you more great content. See you guys next week.